everyone. Welcome to the Select Board meeting. This is Wednesday, September 7th, 2022. Mr. Hood is on his way. If I could ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Do we have any amendments to the agenda? Yes.
Madam Chair, respectfully asked to amend the agenda under the Town Manager's report to add an item number 5 for consideration of a one-day beer and wine, one-day liquor license for an event in town.
Anything else? Any objections?
No objections. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye. The agenda has been amended. Thank you. All right. Any announcements tonight? No. Okay. Yes.
I just, even though I thought she might be here tonight, but I just kind of want to give a shout out and thank you to the town clerk's office for running such a smooth election yesterday, as well as all the early voting days leading up to it. Very impressed with them, as always.
I agree. They did a nice job. Great. So, okay. Anyone here for public input? Yes, Pauline.
Good evening, or afternoon, I should say. It's a little early for evening.
I know, it's weird.
Just think how early you're going to get home.
I know, I want to know what to do with myself.
All right. I would like to read something to you all. I have no desire or intention to start a discussion on it tonight. If that's something you all choose to do, you can contact me later.
All right.
Ayer is my home. I have lived here nearly 40 years, longer than anywhere else in my life. Within a year or so of coming here, I became involved in several groups and activities, eventually serving in various positions in the town government for over 20 years. Early on in that service, a resident remarked, and I paraphrase, that anyone holding public office should expect criticism. Of course, he was and is correct. In my years of service, I received my fair share of criticism from both residents and colleagues. Many of you know one of them actually threatened to harm me in a conversation with the town administrator in his office on the afternoon of November 2nd, 2012. That conversation was overheard by 2 others as it happened. I heard the yelling entering the building that afternoon. I immediately asked about it and requested it be reported to the police. Although I was assured it would be, it was not. I have been a private citizen now for close to 10 years. Despite that fact, on several occasions, I have been told by others that the town's administration made comments to them about me in private conversations. On at least 2 occasions, the words dangerous and evil were said to have been used. Unfortunately, I could do nothing about those incidents without violating a confidence. Last month, I was with a group of 10 others, 3 of whom were town officials. At the outset, I was informed by the meeting organizer that after, quote, reflection, conversation, and counsel, I was no longer welcome in the group as my, quote, intention was different than the others. When I inquired what was meant by intention, the person making the statement relayed that they had recently had a conversation with, and I quote, the town manager, a secretary, Alan, and Carly. Last names were not used, but I venture to guess we know who those people are. In which she received, quote, advice and counsel about me, which led her to decide I was not a good fit. No further explanation was given. This is the first time I am able to confront what I have been aware has been happening, because this time it was not told to me in confidence, but relayed in a public in public to a group of people, more than half of whom are strangers to me. When the town manager or any other appointed official speaks, whether in public or in private, they are representing you, the executive officers of the town. Regardless of
Madam
your...
Chair, point of order.
regard-
Madam
regard-
Chair, point of order.
Madam Chair, I asked not to discuss this tonight.
Madam Chair, Ms. Conley, as a former select member,
You
knows that
stop,
under...
both of you, stop,
No,
please. No,
Madam
I'm
Chair.
gonna ask both of you to stop.
Ms. Antonellis and I will walk out. We have rights under Mass General Law,
haven't-
Chapter 30A, Exemption 1. If Ms. Conley has a complaint about myself, she should put it in writing to the board, and as she well knows, under Exemption 1, there is an entire procedure. If she has a complaint about Ms. Antonellis or Mr. Minoyan, she should put that in writing to me, not hold a grandstand under public input. Specifically discuss the reputation and character. She has plenty of time to do that on the community page about my job and myself. But I'm going to ask for a point of order. I'm going to leave the meeting. This is completely uncalled for.
So if I can have my turn. I know you don't want to discuss this, but this isn't appropriate, and you know that, okay? I understand you being upset, but it isn't appropriate. Okay, so what I think needs to happen is, to be quite honest, because this has been a long-going feud with all parties having something said to them, about them for years. Maybe everyone should just be an adult, take it outside, or just knock it off, which I'm voting for knock it off. Okay, so, anything else?
It's hard to knock it off when your job performance is continually criticized. I've never met Miss Conley. I don't know why you hate me. I really don't. I feel sad that you do, because I'm a good person. I try to help everyone. But you don't know me, and you continually post about me on the Facebook page, the community page, that I lose files, that I've mismanaged funds. That's not true.
Right, so
Yeah.
seriously.
I'm not here for a staring conference, Ms.
Nobody's staring.
Madam Chair. I
Nobody's
was-
staring.
I-
Seriously.
I have 2 sentences and then I will leave you alone.
2 sentences.
Regardless of your collective or individual opinions of me, you have no right to make slanderous, disparaging, hateful comments about me or impugn my integrity or character to anyone. At an absolute minimum, all residents of this town, myself included, residents deserve respect no matter what the circumstance. Thank you for your time.
So
Madam
I'm gonna
Chair,
be
ma-
clear that
Madam-
respect goes both ways.
Yeah, Madam Chair, may I respond?
I am
Yeah.
leaving you
Of
to say
course-
whatever you want. We can all
Yes,
watch
of
it on
course you are.
TV.
Of course
Thank
you are.
you, Madam Chair. I appreciate your
It works
time.
both ways, Pauline. Something you never learned. Works both ways.
Okay.
And Madam Chair, for the record, I take issue with the comment that there's a feud. There is no feud. This board can even speak every person around this table about this individual.
I did use the word feud, and maybe that
I have
was
no feud.
inappropriate.
I have no
and
feud with the
you know what?
individual. No
Seriously.
matter.
Okay,
Yep.
so I understand that public officials, especially elected officials,
It's not
but they
even
are
true.
not.
But
They
it's
are
not
not
even
elected
true.
officials, okay?
But it's not
And
even true.
what does go on is they do get criticized, and yes, you do too. You're standing in the hallway. I want the public to know you're standing in the
Why
hallway
don't you
looking
just
at
come
me.
in?
Okay,
I'm not in the meeting anymore, but if you want to
okay. So I'm just making it clear that everyone
It's not true.
needs
I want to say
to
for the
stop.
record,
And
I'm
I
sorry.
have never, I wasn't there, and I have no idea, and I've not
I
had
don't
anyone,
either.
I have no one has
She
come to
wasn't
me
either.
to
She
say
wasn't
that you
either.
guys were saying this or anything like that.
Madam Chair,
That's all I know.
Madam Chair, though I'm the town manager and though Miss Antonellis is the assistant town manager and Miss Conley knows this, we have rights as an employee to you under exemption 1
You
of
do.
Mass
Yes,
General.
you
And I'm not
absolutely
going to
do.
have an
And this was highly
Can I
inappropriate.
just, it
Yes.
is extremely inappropriate. First of all, she got exactly what she wanted, which was another public display. It's not even true. Like everything that comes out of her mouth and on the community page. It's not true. It's just not true.
So here's the thing, This was inappropriate, okay? All of it. Everything that happened at this table in the last few minutes has been inappropriate. But here's what happens when human beings decide to just be nasty to one another and not look in the mirror. And I'm going to say that for everybody sitting at this table, me included. So you got 1 minute, and then we're moving on to this agenda.
I just want to say that the person that has allegedly conveyed Roberts and I's thoughts out of our mouth, she came to us petrified about
We're not getting into it.
Well,
okay? I understand what
they
you're
came
saying.
to
I
us.
understand what you're saying.
She came to us.
So here's the bottom line. I think that there's a lot of missing pieces to this puzzle. And this is inappropriate. And now everybody is upset. And we're going to move on to the agenda. This was inappropriate. In the future, if anyone has a complaint about any one of the employees in this town, please do it through proper channels instead of attempting to publicly humiliate, because the problem is that it's going to backfire too. So, anyone else here for public input? All right, Dan.
Okay. Good evening. All right, so Public Works, we have 5 items on the agenda. And the first one is a petition for street acceptance that was received from Cowfield LLC for portions of Riley Jane Farm. It's the phase 2 of Riley Jane Farm. That's Calvin and CJ Moore's project up on Pleasant Street Extension. So they have submitted to me their as-built, and I'm developing a punch list as we speak. And I think we do have good opportunity to get this project accepted at fall town meeting. So the first step, similar to what we did for Pingree back in July, would be for the board to vote intention to lay out the portions of Riley Jane Farm for street acceptance. So that's what I am recommending today. I had a memo in the packet as well.
All right, and this just as a reminder, this would then go to the fall town meeting as long as all the punch list is taken care of. Any questions?
I don't have any questions. If you have any questions.
I have no questions.
So make a motion for the board to approve the intention to lay out road acceptance for the remaining portion of Riley Jane Farm subdivision to proceed to town meeting.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Sean? Chair says aye.
Okay, great. Next business item is the street acceptance for Pingree Hill Phase 4. So that's Woodland Way and then a portion of Hemlock Drive. I attached a memorandum, but the planning board at their recent meeting made a recommendation or voted a recommendation for the board to accept Woodland Way and a portion of Hemlock Drive within the Pingree Hill subdivision as a town street. And this is obviously tied to the punch list that they have being completed by fall town meeting. So if that isn't completed by fall town meeting, I would report on the town meeting floor that the punch list isn't complete and we're not going to accept this street at fall town meeting. We'll have to table it or push it to the next town meeting. Start the process over again. I'm pretty confident they're going to get it done, though. It's pretty doable. So this was the last step is for the board to execute an attached order of layout that I included in the packet, which was prepared by our town council. And so this would then go to the town clerk for filing prior to the town meeting vote. So this was for signature by the board.
No questions.
No questions?
No.
Okay, I have no questions.
Do I need to read this whole thing? Or just-
Does he
Motion.
need to read the whole thing?
No.
No, I don't think so.
No,
Just
just a motion.
vote to
Yeah.
execute the order of layout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need a drink of water
Yeah.
first.
No, no.
Oh, please, you haven't even gotten to the big one.
I haven't. Okay, I'll make a motion that the select board approve the order of layout for Woodland Way and Hemlock Drive portion as presented in the packet.
Seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye.
Okay. All right, third item, moving along. I've attached an agreement for the Grove Pond Water Treatment Resin Filter Media Replacement. So at the Grove Pond Water Treatment Plant, we have the PFAS media treatment. It's an anion exchange resin, and we have 2 vessels there, and they run in series. So when we start seeing what's called breakthrough, when we start seeing PFAS in between the 2 vessels, we have to start planning to replace the anion exchange media. So working with our engineers, we did have some age on the second vessel too, so some of that media is kind of spent up through our working through the process of getting our plant running over the last few years. So it was recommended to replace media in both vessels. So as part of that, I worked with the Army to adjust our O&M budget in the Army grant, so the quote-unquote Army grant. So the Army grant is going to pay for this work, and we opened bids, and we received 2 bids. The low bidder being Calgon Carbon Corporation at $352,026. So I recommend the board execute the contract with Calgon Carbon Corporation for the project for the amount I just said, and that's for signature by the chair.
I know you just walked in.
Yeah, sorry.
Do you need him to just summarize it real quick?
Sure.
Could you please
Yeah.
summarize again?
10 words or less.
No problem. Yeah, Grove Pond Water Treatment Plant, so we just bid the replacement of our anion exchange media because we started to see breakthrough between our 2 vessels. So at that point, we have to do so. We're going to replace media in both because there is some spent media in the second, and it gets paid through the Army grant, which we've made adjustments to the amounts for. So I recommend executing a contract with Calgon Carbon, the low bidder.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
yeah,
And that was signature by the board?
by the chair.
By the chair.
Yep.
Okay. All right, any questions?
it. No questions.
All right.
Sorry. Okay, so I'll make a motion that the select board approve the town of Bear's ion exchange water treatment system. Tell me which one, is that the right one? Yes. Second?
All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
And the chair says aye.
Okay. Okay, 2 more items. The 4th item today is an update on the drought and a discussion about the outdoor watering variance. And Kimberly Abraham's also on the Zoom. If you want to chime in, Kimberly, feel free. I'll take the lead. So in your packet, I included a memo which Kimberly wrote up on our current conditions with our water supply since we've implemented the outdoor watering ban. And in short, we are currently maintaining a good level in our tanks, and we have noticed a decrease in consumption and demand after we placed into effect the outdoor watering ban. So we've been able to keep up. Spectacle Pond still hasn't had a break much at all. Grove Pond has had a few breaks, so we've been really pumping a lot of water still. And that's kind of the current state of our system in a nutshell. We did, which was nice, everyone knows, we got 3.1 inches of rain the last few days. If my kids forgot what rain was. Wait, we gotta get a coat? But the Drought Task Force for Massachusetts, we've talked about before, they did meet today at 1 o'clock, and as far as I know, we're gonna be staying in the current level 3 critical drought condition. There's not much in the forecast through the middle of next week for rain. And so far, we've run it through August, not counting September. We're at a 10-inch deficit on rain. Typically, we have almost 30 inches. We're just shy of 20. So in the memo, Kimberly does speak, and we talked about this together, that operationally we feel like we could handle if we were to allow variances this fall, because it is the growing season, there's businesses out there, landscapers, that would like to establish new lawns. You know, established lawns at this point will come back next year in the spring. So it shouldn't have a significant impact on our supply, and our recommendation would be to suspend the variances for outdoor water or to lift the suspension on the variances for outdoor water use in this fall for new lawns only at this time, but maintain the other outdoor watering ban in place, or keep everything else in place as it was. So I don't know if you want to have any questions or discussion.
Questions?
Personally, I have no problem lifting the ban on the variances, because I understand, businesses have to be able to, make money, and also when people do need to replace lawns. The only question I have is in regards to, you mentioned, and I apologize, I can't remember specifically which one of the wells that has not had a break. Is there a plan to kind of take that offline for a short period for maintenance?
Kimberly, was at Speck Pond. We have 2 wells at Speck Pond, and we kind of run them in a lead lag, but we haven't been able to, or we haven't turned one off because Speck Pond is our big producer. We currently don't have any plan to turn it off because it'll adversely impact our supply, but we kind of switch the lead lag. Is that right, Kimberly? I believe we don't have any. Yeah.
That's right. It's because Spectacle is our main producer, and when we say that Grove has had a break, it's had a break for several hours at a time. It's not like it's off for a full day or something like that.
All right, thank you. No other questions.
Entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to lift the current ban on variances for water uses for newly established lawns.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye.
All right. And the final item on my agenda is a joint item with Parks. Jeff Thomas is here. An exciting item. Notice of award for the Priority Park Playground Phase 1 project. So Phase 1 is the demolition of the playground structure and the removal of the impacted soil, the arsenic impacted soil at the site, to kind of create a fresh site to do the Phase 2, which is the new playground. So we anticipate the work to be done this fall before the winter, and then work on the Phase 2 bidding and everything over the winter to get that going in the spring. So the project bid on last Thursday, and there were 9 bidders, and the low bidder was Brighter Horizons, who's actually in Ayer on West Main Street. You may have seen them down there, right in the middle of the construction zone. So Beta, our engineer Beta, reviewed the bids and did a background check on Brighter Horizons, and it came out good. So we recommend awarding the project to Brighter Horizons out of Ayer. Is there anything else?
No, just it's $173,000, which
Yeah.
is sounds like a lot of money because it is. Just to get rid of the project, this is well within the estimates that we'd originally made, and our fear, of course, was that having a shortage of bidders might push that up to who knows how high.
Yeah.
I think the highest bidder was somewhere in like 700,000. So it was great for us to see a bid that was within the range that we hoped it would be,
Yeah.
and that should still leave us with a really good amount of money to work on the replacement end of the project. So we're excited about that.
So when do you think all of this will be able to be completed?
Completion with the rebuilding of the playground in the spring is the projected time.
Of 23?
Yes. The biggest hold up of moving on as soon as the remediation is done is that part of the element is something called a poured-in-place surfacing, which is kind of like pavement. You have to do it during warmer weathers. So this is an important surface for both safety and to make it handicap accessible. So that's one of the things that's going to make us have to probably delay continuing the project until it gets warm enough to do the poured-in-place part of the project.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Comment?
No, thank you.
Very exciting.
It's for signature by the chair, so.
Okay. So,
I'll make a motion that the board approve the
There you go.
bid, what was it, Bright Horizons?
Yeah, Brighter Horizons, 173,000.
The contract with Brighter Horizons in the amount of $173,000 as presented this evening.
Second.
Park.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye. Congratulations, we're gonna have a
All
new
right.
playground.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
I'll give you that right back.
Sure.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, Alan.
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
Good evening, Alan.
Through you, Madam Chair. We're here tonight, the Ayer Office of Community and Economic Development. I believe you have our detailed memo before you. And we are here to request UDAG funding for FY23 for the Ayer Office of Community and Economic Development in the amount of $113,701. I'll answer any questions if you have any. Thank you. And then I
And
can
this is
address
something we
the,
do every year as a reminder, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the rest of it is, the rest of the money comes from, was there someplace else?
The omnibus
Okay.
budget, half of
Yeah.
it, 50%, and
Okay.
50% is sourced from the UDAG fund.
Okay, great.
That's
I want to
correct.
make sure everybody knows. Okay. Any questions?
No questions, straightforward.
I have no questions, and we do get our money's worth out of that department.
Thank you. We try to bring in at least 3 times every year what we're funded to the town through grants and other means.
And you've done a great job. In fact, there was a recent picture of you with the governor. Oh.
He's a tall man.
Okay. I have no questions. Anybody else? This is pretty standard for
Yeah.
a yearly thing. So,
I'll make a motion to approve FY 2023 UDAG funding for the Office of Economic Development in a total of $113,701 as presented.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And just briefly, as you can see in the memo as well, we're going to launch a renovated.
I can't hear you.
A renovated municipal lending program. The IDFA program has existed for over 30 years in a rather conventional form, and we'd like to get back to the original mission and purpose of this UDAG loan fund. It's really to attract larger industrial and job creation entities to our town, rather than providing loans to small restaurants and other retail things, which really should remain with our commercial banking and private banking sector, which we have a great private banking sector in our region. So you see here, we would just be proposing the targeted new enterprise loan program, and we'll bring that in-house. And again, you can see the list of the firms that we would like to proactively target to fill out more of a balanced economy, in our local profile, the type of companies that are here. So we'd like to use that to attract, the type of companies that we think will bring a more balanced mix of an economy to our town, rather than just, all right, but I will leave it at that. So we look forward to launching that program this year as well.
I have a sneaking suspicion it will be successful.
Thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
All right.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice one.
Thank you.
All right, Robert.
Madam Chair, members of the board, in the interest of time, I know we're on a tight timeline this evening. As
We're
far
doing
as
pretty good.
the warrants that have been reviewed and approved since the board last met in August, are in the packet. In terms of the administrative update, I think for the next meeting on September 20th, I know that the BI board has been working on the budget schedule for the upcoming year, and would like to bring that before the board for review and discussion. We'll also have for the September 20th meeting an update on the special town meeting warrant update. It's not looking to be a lot of articles. The board did approve there's two street acceptance articles that we're aware of. There's going to be potentially 2 CPC articles for 2 important projects, and then a couple of minor zoning bylaw amendments, one looking at a tweak in the form-based code and another looking on a tweak to the downtown parking requirements. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell as of today. Of course, the warrant closes on September 30th, which is also the deadline for citizens petitions, but we'll have a more detailed discussion for the 20th for the fall town meeting. Are there any questions from the board on any administrative matters? I sort of kept it short for tonight to get to the action items.
No?
Okay.
No questions.
So first, appointments, which is always a positive. You have in your packet first, respectfully requesting that the board appoint Ms. Marge Withy, who is here, to the Council on Aging for a 3-year term to expire on June 30th of 2025. And you do have Marge Withy's letter in the packet, and I know that she has met with the COA board and the director, and will be a great addition to the COA board, and that will fill the 5 seats for now on the COA board.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Okay. I know that we have your letter, but is there anything you wanted to add?
I can't wait to be on the board.
Excellent.
They'll be tired.
We love enthusiasm.
They'll be tired of me.
All right, well, I give her a go, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's
All
definitely.
right.
That's the
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to appoint Marge Withy to the Council on Aging for a term expiring June 30th, 2025.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye. Congratulations, welcome
Thank you.
aboard.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Just gonna add a little spunk.
Yes.
Thank you.
And then the next 4 appointments, the board can respectfully take in one motion, as they're all to the Cultural Council. And I do want to thank Ms. Antonellis, the Assistant Town Manager, and the Cultural Council for working diligently over the last month to get these appointments, because they had lost a quorum on the Cultural Council. And as we know, the Cultural Council does a lot of good work in awarding state funds for various projects that benefit the town. So you have before you Ms. Susan Tordella Williams for a term to expire June 30th of 2023. Jin Hong, June 30th, 2024. Bob Williams, June 30th, 2024. And Linda McGilligutty, June 30th, 2025. And I know that the board has in the packet communications from those individuals, and we would recommend that the board appoint them to the Cultural Council.
How many members are on the Cultural Council?
9.
9.
There's room for 9. They have 3 right now.
Oh,
And at the Mass Cultural Council, the statewide organization had reached out because they're just about to enter into their grant awarding season. And they have to have a quorum. So their quorum is 5. So this will put us up to 7 members.
Oh,
which
excellent.
will be great.
excellent,
Yeah.
excellent. So, well, thank you to everyone who applied and everything, so, okay.
Okay, so that, oh, sorry. Got ahead of myself, sorry.
We gotta do the motion first.
Make a motion that the board approve the appointment of Susan Tordella Williams, Jin Hong, Bob Williams, and Linda McGillicuddy to the Agricultural Council for the terms as outlined in the agenda.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye. Congratulations to all the new members on the Cultural Council. All right.
Now you make a.
Yes, apologies. So the next item, Madam Chair, is a request for UDAG funding specifically for the COA building design services and due diligence. And we are joined by Mr. Dennis Curran from the COA board, who's also on the site committee, and Katie Petrossi, the director of the COA Senior Center. When we came to make the presentation update to the board at the meeting not that long ago, we had discussed that there would probably be the need for some supplemental funding for this effort. Largely, and again, I want to thank the assistant town manager. You have in your packet the memo with all of the background for this request. The original article from May of 2018 for Article 15 had authorized $30,000 for the feasibility study and some of the other work. And at the time, we had hoped that that would be sufficient. What we did not factor in was that ultimately, as this board's aware, town meeting did table the West Main Street site for a variety of concerns. And so we got to work looking for another viable site. And as we mentioned, this remains to be a real challenge, but we're up to the challenge. And so we are at a point right now where we have we have a viable potential site and perhaps another one. And as the board can appreciate, as the board's been involved with this, the acquisition of land is quite a process. In the first phase is the due diligence, in that you need to do the appraisal, the environmental analysis, and so forth. You also have to be, strategic in the sense of the negotiations with the private property owners who don't necessarily want to be public at this point. So what we're respectfully asking the board to consider your support is authorization for up to $31,000 from the UDAG to be replenished at a future town meeting, which at the latest would probably be the annual town meeting. And specifically, the breakdown will be $15,000 for the continued building and site design services as we continue to work with Abacus, the design and architectural firm, the 21E testing, the wetland delineation and flagging services, and appraisal costs, so that we can move forward on this next phase.
Any questions?
No questions, straightforward.
No questions. Sorry.
Anybody else have anything to add?
I will say, it feels like the first time in a long time on this site selection committee, we have momentum, which is a nice feeling, because I feel like we haven't had it in a little while. So I think this is all positive.
Excellent, excellent. That's what we want to hear. So, okay. I know everybody's doing a lot of hard work on this, so appreciate it. Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve use of the UDAG funding for the Council on Aging Building Design Services and due diligence in the amount of $31,000 as presented.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Cheers to that.
The next item is the request for board authorization and signature for an amendment to the extension of the original agreement regarding the historic fire station, specifically the South Bay removal. And I did, in my memo, summarize the background for the benefit of the board. As the board will recall, the historic fire station was originally sold to Cowfield Station LLC, Mr. Calvin Moore, on May 7th of 2018. And as part of that original agreement, the owner agreed that within 3 years, he would remove the South Bay edition of the station. That's the wing that obviously is not historic on there. He requested, Mr. Moore, and was granted by the select board originally an extension on August 3rd of 2021 to demolish the bay, with a new deadline of August 1st of 2022. And that is attached to the packet. In January of this year, of 2022, Mr. Moore sold the station to Seal Harbor Companies, LLC. And the new owner, Seal Harbor, has yet to demolish the South Bay addition in accordance with the agreement, and that deadline passed on August 1st of this year. The new owner has been in contact with the Office of Economic Development, the town planner, the building commissioner, and his intention, as put in the packet, is to demolish that wing, and he's going to be seeking site plan approval from the planning board for 5 residential units, one which will be affordable. He has requested an extension until December 31st of this year to remove the south bay of the station. Upon review and in consultation with town departments and town council, where he's the new owner as of January, he is moving forward with the plan. It's our opinion that the request for the extension is reasonable to December 31st of 2022. And just so the board and the public is aware, in the agreement, in the event that the demolition of this wing is not completed, the town may seek injunctive relief through the court and so forth. Where this is the new owner, we don't believe that that is the best course of action. That will end up in the courts. There'll be costs. This will be on the low end of the courts as far as it'll be dragged out, if you will. Our recommendation for your consideration is to grant the extension to December 31st of 2022. We have reason to believe by his initial actions and what he has said that he will have that bay down, and hopefully we'll get the site plan. If he is able to get through site plan review this fall, he'd like to start the construction too of the project as well before winter. But if not, they get that bay down and then start the construction of the project in the spring. So it requires authorization from the board to approve the amendment, which is in the packet, for the extension and for signature
By the board.
by the board.
Just the second part of that paragraph,
Mhm.
where it says that said approvals have not yet been issued, the town agrees to further extend the deadline to remove addition until 90 days after issuance of all permits and approvals necessary to accomplish the project. So does that mean come December 30th, he doesn't have they don't have the proper permits, they automatically, like, it extends until those permits and then plus 90 days, or how does that?
No, you know what? I'm sorry, that, actually, town council sent an updated version. I'm so sorry. This, we got today, that's removed. Town
Okay,
council.
so that last paragraph part?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, it just says the town and the new owner agree that the time to remove the addition from the building shall be extended to December 31st, 2022, period. In all other respects, the agreement shall remain unchanged.
Okay.
And is hereby ratified. So, Seal Harbor's council had drafted the original.
With that.
And then
Yeah.
we got this back this morning with some changes, just mostly grammatical and whatnot, but they did take that out.
Okay. That was my only question.
No other questions?
If there's no further questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion the board approve the amendment to the agreement between the town and Seal Harbor regarding the fire station as presented.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the chair says aye.
Okay.
Okay.
And Madam Chair, the final item by amendment tonight under my report, number 5, is consideration from the board for a one-day alcohol license. This was sort of a last-minute request, and through you, I'll turn it over to the assistant town manager to frame the request.
Thank you, Robert. So we were, this has kind of been ongoing for a few weeks, but we were approached by a couple that are getting married on the 24th over at St. Andrews. St. Andrews will allow them to have alcohol. However, because they're renting the hall, though it's a private event, they're renting the hall. The ABCC says they need a one-day license that would be issued to the couple. Then they have a caterer, tip-certified caterer, who will serve their liquor. So the permit needs to be issued to them, but they have someone tip-certified to serve the alcohol. And I checked with, because
they thought they were all set, and then the caterer just this morning said, no, we better get that just in case, because they're not locally in town. They're using Philo's. So that's why the request came in last minute. I talked to Chief Gill today, and he was fine with the request, so I just wanted to add that. So it would be for September 24th from 4 to 8 p.m. Again, it's a private event, but it's just to cover the service of the alcohol.
So the license goes to Arbor and Amanda in their name,
Yep.
and then they contracted to
Yeah.
Philo's.
Yeah.
So they're the ones that assume responsibility.
And also the church would, under their insurance.
Insurance.
Right,
Okay.
exactly.
It's a lot of people. A lot of parties in that.
Exactly. All right.
I have no issues with
Well,
it.
far be it from us to ruin a wedding.
Yes.
I have no issues.
I'll make a motion that the board move to approve the one-day liquor license for Arbor Casa and Amanda Dosman of 70 West Main Street, Ayer.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The chair says aye, and we say congratulations. We hope your day is wonderful.
Madam Chair, before I conclude my report, I do apologize to you and the public and the folks around this table for raising my voice earlier. However, when one is professionally and personally ambushed in an inappropriate public venue, and somebody who takes their position, as does Ms. Antonellis, hers in this town, very seriously and work very hard, sometimes in excess of 80 hours a week, to be accused publicly of things that are not true and are lies is very hurtful and difficult. And I think anybody that would, in my position or Ms. Antonellis' position, that is continually attacked incorrectly day in and day out, and then to have this unfortunate and inappropriate display this evening was unfortunate. So I apologize for raising my voice, but I also do feel very strongly about my character as well as Ms. Antonellis's and the work that this town and all of the departments do. So with that, I conclude my report. Thank you.
I just want to add that despite what was seen tonight, these two work very hard, and we're very lucky to have them, and I thank them.
Thank you.
All right, any new business and select board questions?
I do not have any.
All righty. Okay, so next step is approval of the meeting minutes of August 16th, 2022. I saw no issues.
I didn't have any either.
No?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for August 16th, 2022 as presented.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye, meeting minutes are approved. As a reminder, our next meeting is on September 20th, right? On a Tuesday? Normal
Correct.
time?
Yep.
Normal time and place? Okay.
Yep.
If there's anything else?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye. Good night, everyone.